or presenting in PowerPoint. So hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties, but and hopefully you can all hear me very well. So yes, I look after the Quickstep Academy here. We have two different courses that we run here. We have the Quickstep Master Installers course. That's a 3-day course that we run. And we also have the Foundation Installers course, which is a day and a half. And we teach the basics of installing a laminated or engineered timber floor, or a hybrid floor for that matter. So the main focus here today is just to really showcase what we're doing here at the Academy, what your installers can learn, which is a huge benefit to your business. You're selling an amazing product, the Quickstep flooring products, but you want to have an installer also that is not just a board clicker, but can do some of those more difficult jobs like working with staircases and things like that. So let's start with the staircase. So if you can have a look over here, you've probably all heard about Inciso by now, or you should have. And it's not as straightforward necessarily as the stair nosings that we sell, the premium floors one. So there's a few little tips and tricks to make this work, and that's definitely one of the big things that we focus here. So what we've got here is the hardest step that you can do on a staircase. So the straight stairs, yeah, most installers can do those reasonably well. So I've just got the kite set up here. And the method that we teach here in the Academy, we don't use a tape measure on the stairs once. So you might find that a little surprising. So we've got the template here. I'm not going to show you how to do it. That's not the aim of this session. It's more just to, I guess, show you what's possible and perhaps where the standard of where your installer should be. So we've got the template. You mark that out. We bring that over. We'll then have some boards laid out. This one's obviously pre-cut already. We'll put our template on top. We'll transfer our lines. Once we transfer our lines, we would then take and this is a bit of a different method for actually doing the cuts. Normally the guys might use a jigsaw or a table saw or a drop saw, but this rail and plunge saw, it's a big time saver. So then what you do is you place your rail on, you run it, do all your cuts. Once you cut it, you then take the piece. Now with Inciso, probably one of the big tips I'll give you is there's a little groove that runs on the back here. And that actually needs to engage into this little ridge that is here. Okay. All right, so set that in first. Drop it down. Now, great, if you just want to bring the camera over. This is the kind of standard, the gap that you should get. And you can see how close that is. A lot of the motto going around is, do your best, cork the rest. Well, there's no need for that. This templating method is incredibly accurate. As you can see just there. Now, I can't demonstrate it to you. It is something I can demonstrate, but it takes about 10-15 minutes and probably don't have the time for that. But very, very easy to do. And this is the most difficult staircase. Now, just when it comes to actually putting the Inciso on, well, there's actually a couple of different methods for finishing off the nosing. Now you can have a flush nose finish, and I'll just grab the little mini staircase clamp. You can see in this model here that we have the flush nose, like so, and then we have this nosing here at the bottom. This is an option number 2, and we just have to run the laminator up behind the base plate. And that gives us a more pronounced, more of a bull-nosed finish. Here, we've opted for this flush nose finish. All right. So now, my incisor has already been cut to length. I can use this little incisor cutter. It slips into one of the holes. There's a hole either side. You can see that there. Yep. I'll run it along. That over there. Now that edge is very sharp, which is why we put the sandpaper on here. Run it a couple of times, just to make sure we don't cut ourselves. And this little insert needs to fit either on the tongue that's hanging out of the laminate there, or we can put it in the groove. Let's put it in the groove. All right. So the important thing with this as well is we don't put glue inside the channel here. Insert it along like so. Let's just make sure that that's on complete. Let's try this other end. Actually, I think I need a couple of modifications, but Craig, if you just look over here. Actually, this is a really good point. It's not quite lining up, which means it probably just needs a little trimming up back off here. But you can see over here, this is what it should look like. That's the perfect color match nosing. All right. So that's the inside on the stairs. But yeah, it's very, it's not the kind of thing that you want to, you know, when you're an installer on the job and you're under time pressure, you don't want to mess around necessarily with things like this. And that's why I'd recommend coming into the coming to do the course, because you've got time. It doesn't matter if you make a few mistakes, because you can have another go and cut another incisor. So definitely, this is a good one to come to the academy for. Right, let's move over to templating around, say something like a toilet. You have a look around. We've got all the tools set up here. We've got lots of different bays. You've got the drop saws here. We've got our tool cases over there. And yeah, so lots of opportunity to learn different things. Now, in this bay over here, now you may think to yourself, well, we don't install laminate into toilets, but with Quickstep, these waterproof surface laminates that we have, we can do it now. And so here what we're doing is we're teaching a templating method for getting around the toilet. And so you can see the little setup that we have. We've got lots of little lines here to find the contour of that toilet. Now, once we've got that template, again, it's a matter of putting some boards together. When you put that template on top, transfer the lines on the inside. And here's one I prepared earlier. And so for this one, we're not looking for necessarily an expansion gap around here. You're probably thinking to yourself, hang on, aren't we supposed to leave an expansion gap around the entire perimeter? Yeah, most of the time that's true. In a small area like a toilet or a bathroom, we can actually cut it in tight around a toilet. We just have to make sure that the room is compartmentalized. We have a control joint separating it from the hallway or the other rooms. All right. In here. right, I'm gonna get in close there, and you can see we've got about a millimetre gap there, and it's pretty consistent the entire way around the toilet. Now that was done with just one attempt, and it probably took about, 20 minutes. So it's a very accurate way of getting around the toilet. Now, obviously, you need to silicone that afterwards, just to make sure that there's no opportunity for anything, any water or anything to get underneath the floor, because it's a waterproof surface. But from underneath, we just need to protect that from water getting underneath. All right, so not sure how many of you are aware, but we have an accessory that's really good for getting around, say, a column, or let's say you've got some curved walls, skirtings or something like that. So we actually have Quickstep flexible paintable skirting. Here it is. So it's kind of like a plasticky sort of material. It can be primed and then painted. But say we've got a column in the middle of a room and we've got nothing else, then the flexible skirting is very good for getting around something like that. So we could even go something with a smaller diameter. It's quite flexible, and the way that we could fix it on, you could sort of brad nail it, or you might even glue it on there. There's adhesive that can set in like 10 seconds. So, but yeah, it looks pretty good. So it's nice to know that we have that available. I think we're cranking through this pretty quickly. All right, come on in here. Okay, so in this area, we've got a few things happening here. So again, big focus on Insizo, because it's something that installers are not necessarily super familiar with, or maybe not really confident with. They're used to using the C channels, and so we really try and get them confident with that in here. So you can see we've got a doorway here, and we could be finishing up to say a carpet, ceramic tiles. We don't obviously have any carpet or ceramic tiles here, but we're going to finish up as if there was a carpet being tucked up. So again, the same Insizo is very, very versatile. It can be used for stairs, but it can be used in doorways like this as well. So one thing I'll just explain is that there's actually like a 90-degree angle here, and there's a ramping side. And so we don't want the ramp side in this particular installation. So I'm going to cut that side off. So again, this is molded to fit to the top of the Insizo, and that little blade inserts into one of the two grooves. And we want to take this off, so we'll cut that side off. Don't forget to use the sandpaper. Now with this, it's much easier to insert it in one end first, get the corner sort of started and slide it along. And then just with your palm, and then the other end. There you go. Now, some people get a little bit nervous about the size of the Insizo, or the fact that it sits up just a little bit. But in actual fact, it's a really good finish. I would, I'm an installer of 7 years experience. I would actually much prefer to have this in my own home. I always encourage it to friends and family, because it's just such a great match with the floor. All right. So that's another application for the Insizo, but we have another one as well, and this one's really important because from time to time I have to do some inspections of floors, and we're finding that there's some very long houses around, 19, 20, 23-meter long hallways, and guys are not wanting to put control joints in, and that can sort of cause problems and get peaking on the end joints because they simply can't leave enough expansion gap around the perimeter. So what I've got here for you is just to see what it an incisor can look like in the hallway. So this is sort of simulating the hallway here. And need my little covering. And the beauty of this is that they can lay the whole house first. And that means that all the rows will line up exactly with each other. The panels will line up with each other. They won't be running off on different angles and things like that. So yeah, you can put this incisor in after. So this time we're going to cut both sides off. So now we actually have a cover strip. Be very careful because those edges are very sharp. Okay, so again, we'll just insert it in. Just work our way along. All right. So there you go. Now look, nobody wants a control joint, but sometimes you just have to have them. And I think you can agree that's a very it's a very attractive control joint. And this is the kind of thing that you might use in that toilet area just to separate the toilet off from the rest of the house. Okay, so the next accessory I'm going to show you is the Humble Scotia. Sometimes we have to use it, but for Quick Step, we have an exact color match in all our accessories. And you can see here, we've got an example of the Scotia. And this is the standard of what your your miter joints should be, and that's what we spend a bit of time on in the academy, in the in the Master Installers course. And yeah, you'd be amazed at how many little tips and tricks you can pick up in that course. Now, just with finishing off, far too many installers are finishing off with, say, a raw end that might look something like that, which doesn't look very good. So we make a big point of teaching the guys how to do a return miter, what you can see there. There's a special adhesive that we have here, just over here, MiterFast. It's a two-part. It's a cyanoacrylate or super glue, and then you use a catalyst to make it set, and it literally goes off in 10 seconds. So this is so handy for the installers, and not many of them actually know about it. So let's go ahead and fix that on there. Obviously, we're fixing into the skirting. So yeah, it's a much better finish. It's an exact color match. Not like some of this Meranti. Some guys are staining up. Very hard to stain your Meranti to a grey like this. So yeah, definitely Quick Step's Kosher is the best option. Okay, so let's move on to, so if you've got to do repairs and things like that. So what we have here is we've got a board, maybe one of the installers or your customers dropped the hammer, dented the floor, damaged it. Now, it's quite relatively simple to actually fix. Now, a lot of installers know or have got a bit of an idea of how it's done. And if you ask them, they'll all tell you, yeah, we know how to do a board replacement. But they're not very confident with it, and so they'll shy away from even doing it. And so, yeah, if they come and do the course, they can practice doing this and gain that confidence. So we start by, so once we've actually, let me just explain first, is that in order to get this damaged board out, We need to use like a rail. And again, the old one saw, just run that across, do the cuts. Then what we do is we lift up the sections. Okay, now normally what we do is we clean that all out, but we won't do that in this session. Now, I'll just take this opportunity just to talk a little bit about the underlay and the way that some of the installers are actually taping this. So as you know, we have the foam, and that's to give us like a cushion and to quieten the floor and support the floor. But we have this vapor barrier, and it's very much underestimated how much of an impact it has on the appearance of the floor above and the performance of the floor above, because this is slowing down. It doesn't stop, it slows down moisture. So I've actually put a hole in that vapor barrier, as you can see, and that needs to be fixed. Unfortunately, what I see too often is I see installers using like a packing tape like this, cello tape, or it's got various different names, but it's cheap. It doesn't really stretch, and that's probably why they like it. However, it doesn't slow down moisture. Because I've compromised the moisture barrier, I need to use a PVC tape. And so this PVC tape would need to be applied where I've cut through that vapor barrier. It's not just for doing repairs like this. It's when the installer has been laying out the underlay, and perhaps they've got a joint on two ends. They need to fully duct tape. So none of the holes like that. That's where the moisture is going to come through. So we do the same for that side as well. Okay, so getting this board, well, we're going to prepare this board to go in. What I've actually done here, as you may know, we always have a tongue on the header and a tongue on the long side, and we usually have a groove. This is a groove here. That's a groove. What we have to do is we actually have to cut both of those off. And we're cutting it off back. It's actually to the back of the groove, the very back of it. All right. So the way to get this board in is, first of all, we put the tongue into the groove. We bring this tongue up to this edge here, as close as we can. And then what we do is we get that tapping block. Try and get that sitting. Got the corner sitting down. Now what I'm going to do is gradually puff the board along. Once I've got it to about there, now I can tap it down. Come back to here. That's it. That's as easy as that. Now, I forgot to mention, when the installer is going to be gluing that in, premium floors, we sell a cross-linking PVA glue. The important thing with this is that we don't apply too much glue. That's usually the big mistake with that. So again, that's something that we go through in the training. Now, there is actually another method for removing damaged boards out of the floor where we don't have to cut the board out. And we have a tool for that. We have a tool for that. It's called the we have the Unifix tool. Now, what we're relying on here with the Unifix tool is a double-sided adhesive tape. And what that does is adheres to the surface of the board. Now, we can use this for Quickstep or any product that has a Uni-Quick locking system. So let me just demo. Okay, so you know that all laminates have to angle in and then rotate, and that's locked in. With the Quickstep Uni-Quick locking system, we can horizontally yeah, that's a very, very useful system that we can use. Now, because of that, we can use this Unifix tool. So for this board replacement that I just did, it actually created a little bit of a gap here. We can very easily close that gap up. Say this was a damaged board there. We could actually push this row over as well. I'm not going to do that now, but we could actually disengage it along the long side, push that whole row that way, take the board out, put a new one in, and then pull it back with the Unifix tool. So if your installers don't know about this one yet, it's really a must-have to have the toolkit. Yeah, it's very, very, very useful. And in actual fact, just demo this one more time. So say you've got a floor that's been installed recently and the customer's called you out and they've said, oh, look, we've got a board, it's got a gap in one of the header joints like this. What do? You could call us out and we can have a look at it, or you can get one of your installers out, and all they need to do is open up that joint just a little bit more. I've got a small section floor, it's not going to really open up. It's going to just shift the whole floor around. But then what I'd do is I'd get this PVA, no, I won't do it, squirt it into the gap there and then close it up. This could be very difficult because the whole floor is going to move. There we go. And now that joint's never going to open up again. Okay. Now the last thing that we have, how are we going for time, by the way? Is, if you Craig, you want to just have a look here. A big part that gets missed a lot with salespeople or with installers is actually, well, how do we actually clean this floor? A lot of customers are left at the end of the job going, well, yep, great, beautiful new floor, but how do we look after it? So now we have available these new stands. You'll need to talk to your the rep that you're dealing with. They can give you more information about it, but you know, you can see here you've got everything that you need. You've got the mops, you've got the cleaner, you've got your replacement heads, you've got the wax repair kits. These are fantastic. If your customer has chipped their floor, you know, this is something that you can sell them, and they can fix any little sort of chips and things like that with this kit. But the great thing about this is also has a mop here that you can demo it, so the customer can get a bit of a go of it. And all the mops now seem to have these spray applicators there. So you've got a little bottle there with the solution. And a lot of you know, people who buy a new floor, they might have not ever used a microfiber mop before, And so what they tend to do, and you can kind of see it here, is they just do this and push backwards and forwards, but then it sort of leaves dust and dirt in front. So what I like to do is I sweep around in that direction, so I always keep that front edge leading and collecting the dirt in the same direction as the actual flames. Then you just need to apply a little bit more from time to time. Yeah. So it's very, very easy to clean your floor, and you can see how that dirt sort of collects along the front edge. And so if your customer just has a bucket just handy, they can just, I think it's just GoPro holding it on, just rip it off, quickly give it a rinse out, and away they go again. Now, I will just say, not a lot of people know about this, but these microfiber mops, they actually don't mix well with your fabric softener. So if your customer, just give them a bit of a warning. For any microfiber products, they shouldn't throw it in with the towels if they're using fabric softener, because it actually clogs the fibers. And you still end up with a nice, clean, fluffy microfiber mop. However, what it's going to do is going to apply fabric softener all across the floor, and that's not good for the floors either. So yeah, that would just be my little tip to you guys. Just beware of fabric softener. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I should mention as well is that when your customer has finished with finished cleaning the floor, they should remove this little bottle. And that's why it has a nice little base decanter on here. Put it up here. Because what can happen is the little rubber rings can degrade over time. So they'll get a longer life out of the actual this mop if they take that out and just pop it to the side and put their mop away, like so. Well, that's probably what I sort of had to show you. We could probably open it up to the questions. I will just say about the QuickStep, the courses that we have. The QuickStep Master Installers course, it's a 3-day course. And we have 2 days of actual training. Yeah, sorry. I've lost it. Sure. Can everyone still see me okay? Yep. Yep. Cool. Yeah, so it's a 3-day course, 2 days of training and 1 day of assessment. At the end of the assessment, it's a pretty grueling assessment. They pretty much have to get 100% correct. But if they pass that assessment, they'll be accredited as a QuickStep Master Installer, and that membership lasts for 3 years. Now, we like to promote QuickStep Master Installers. So if you have a Master Installer working for you in your shop, then we have, if somebody's asking for a QuickStep installer, we can refer them to you. The other thing with the QuickStep Master Installer program is that we offer a lifetime installation warranty as well. Now that's a warranty that lasts for 33 years. And what we actually cover in that is we cover not just the flooring, that is a 25-year wear and structural warranty. It has waterproof warranty, some of our laminates do. But if a master installer installs the floor, the customer gets a warranty for 33 years on the installation of the floor. So if anything goes wrong with the floor, even if it's due to some installer error, which we would expect that there would be less installer error because they've done the training, they've learned how to correctly install the floor. We're very confident that we can offer a 33-year installation warranty, which is a huge benefit to your store. That's a huge selling point as well. When you've got customers that are shopping around, rather than on just your only selling tool is maybe price. It should be more than that. You've got a master installer, and that's a big selling point in terms of confidence for the customer that's buying a floor from you. Right, well, what's the question?
So if anyone wants to take their line off mute and ask Nathan a question while you have him here and available, please do so, or you can just type a question in the chat box. We can read it out to him. Anyone? Bueller?
Just while people are perhaps thinking about a question, the foundation installers course, it's a 1.5-day course. Now, some people might think, well, perhaps we would like a little more time. There's no reason why we can't sort of run courses like the foundation installers course back to back. So if somebody wants to do 3 days or 4 days, 4.5 days, that's no problem. We can do that as well. Because there's I do get a lot of inquiries from retailers. They've got somebody new that wants to get into installing floors, but perhaps they want a little bit more time. So that's always available as well.
Still no questions, look like, Nathan, but maybe in the meantime, did you want to quickly run through the repair kit?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was going to say, if we've got time, I could actually, I know I demonstrated the stair, but I could actually just sort of very quickly run through and just show actually how quick it is to template and cut that kite to actually fit. Would you want me to do that?
I'm sure people will be happy to hang around. Otherwise, they can.
Don't worry about the stair, Nate. Show us that repair kit in action, mate. Show us how retail salespeople can get out there and do their own repairs.
Okay.
Show them how easy it is to sell something for $100 that keeps a customer happy for life.
Right.
Make 100% on the
electric.
Give it to them, Nate. Show them a repair, mate. Whoever's doing that camera work, Craig or Kurt, get a close up on this. This is retail gold.
This is definitely retail gold. Okay, so it doesn't come with batteries, so I'm not going to actually be able to demo it live. But what you get here is you've got a battery-powered soldering iron. You've got these waxes here. You can mix the colors together. Black and white's going to make gray. That's going to be perfect for this floor. You can see there's a little bit of a brown tone in this floor, so you can mix a bit of brown in there as well. And the idea is that let's put a chip in the floor. So if you've got something like that, right, I've got a big tip for you guys. See this little, you may not be able to pick it up on the camera, but can you see that little white halo around there? The camera may not be picking it up. Rookie mistake number one is people don't take that into account and they just fill the hole and they end up with this white ring around the outside. What we need to do is we need to actually cut straight down. So we've got to make it a little worse before we can repair it. Got to get rid of that white halo. Now, bear with me, I'm going to grab another kit. Okay, this one's a bit more of a professional kit. Oh, got some gas in there. So the difference between this one and this one is this one's going to cost about $650. This one's going to cost how much?
$100.
Under $100.
$49.99 plus GST at all great premium floors branches. By the way, while I've got while Nathan's doing the incredible heating of the iron ceremony, great to see so many familiar faces on these webinars. I hope you're all doing well in lockdown. I know it's not easy, but we look forward to particularly for the Melburnians, of whom I see many. We look forward to ramping it right up at the end of this lockdown. Back to you, Nath.
Thanks for that, Stu. Okay, so it does take a little bit of messing around with the colors, but we get a bit of white there. A little bit of brown in there, a little bit of black. And we start to just add those colors. And you're not going to get this right straight away. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of mucking around. But the beauty of this is that, you know, if you make a mistake, it's not permanent. You can take it out and start again. So you can see I need a bit more black in there. Ooh, not too much. So I'm going to get rid of that. No pressure, doing this live. Okay. And a bit more brown. Now, this, I'm not going to get this the right color. This is something you really need to muck around with more time. Actually, that's actually not too bad. Going backwards a bit. Okay, so that's what this little thing is for. This is actually a planer. So you've got one side here that is great for removing any excess wax. Let's just go a little bit more. All right, let's just work with that. All right. So plane it off. Now, if your flooring actually has a bit of a timber grain to it, this edge here is designed to run across like so. And that actually puts a grain in the surface, so it sort of copies whatever else is lying around. Hang on. Not happy with that. You can see for a rush job, it's actually not too bad. Anybody can do this. So across like that. And then what we do inside your little planer, got these little things in here, and I never used to know what these were for. And I used to clean off the end of my soldering iron with it, but then I did the training and realized it's actually for cleaning off the excess wax. And then this little pad here, we have a white side and we have this green side. One is actually for putting a shine on this. So if your floor has got a shine to it, it will do that. If you need a matte finish, the other side is actually for giving a matte finish. So I never quite remember which side is which, but this one, the white side, obviously gives you the matte finish. Look at that. See how that sort of shine has gone? But if I do this side, it puts the shine back. Don't know if the camera can pick that up well. Can't pick it up. Anyway, that's what it's there for. And yeah, so once you've done that, it's pretty much finished. But obviously, you guys can do a better job, just given a little bit of time. But you know, that was 5 minutes. All right.
Good work, Nathan.
Anything else you guys want to see?
Stuart, had any questions? This is your opportunity. You have our National Training Manager's attention. Crickets.
I think one of the keys here is, that's been a great presentation, Nath. I think one of the keys here is that there are massive advantages to sending your installers to the academy, apart from the fact that premium floors in Australia and Floorscape in New Zealand are going to cover a lifetime installation warranty. It takes 3 days to do a master installer course. As Nathan said, you've got to have 2 years experience and all that sort of stuff. But apart from that, most of the installers that are working for your stores did not do an apprenticeship. And if they did, there's been not a lot of ongoing learning, of continuous learning that they've been able to do and learn. We've seen some of the most experienced installers in Australia go to the academy and come back going, wow, I did not know I would learn that much new stuff. My job is faster. My job will be better. My job will be easier. So irrespective, you know, we've heard it all before. Who's got 3 days to spend? Who wants to spend $750? $750 plus airfares to Adelaide is what it costs. We know they've got the $750. Most floor installers make the money of a Sydney brain surgeon on overtime. But it's the 3 days. And let me tell you, it is 3 days that is incredibly well spent. I saw a couple of master installers were on the call. I think one is still on it. But there is absolutely no question whatsoever that irrespective of how talented they think they are when they go there, everybody learns something. And at the end of the day, better installers means a better industry reputation and more work for everyone. So I'd encourage every single retail store to get as many of your installers to the Quick Step, either the foundation course, if they're under 2 years of full-time installation experience of floating floors, or if they are over that 2 years, get them into the master installer program. And as you can see, Nathan's got we've got a fantastic academy over there in Adelaide, incredibly well fitted out, and he's ready and waiting to teach some Melbourne installers, once there's no 2-week ban or isolation, Melbourne installers how to do the job.
I was just going to say,
a couple of questions and less inspections, less complaints. We don't want complaints. Nobody likes complaints. You've got a heap of links in the chat, so if you want to open the chat, copy the links out of that chat. You've got links to the DIY video for the wax repair kit. You've got links to the Academy, Quickstep Australia Academy, installation or Master Installer Academy. Any of those sort of Google searches are going to be able to find it, but you've got the links online. And Chris has asked, Nathan, would it be possible to showcase the use of the PE foam rod in wet areas? Back to you. Have a fantastic rest of your lockdown, Melbourne. And thanks for tuning in.
Okay, just to sort of finish off what Stu was saying there, I actually get a lot of installers sending me messages. You know, they've done a staircase that they've done, and they've done it using the templating method, and they're just so stoked that they're able to do something with so much precision, so much accuracy, but do it in like literally half the time. So that's pretty massive, because obviously they can make some more money, but they're doing a better job at the same time. It's not often you can claim to do something like that. Okay, so somebody had a question about the foam backer rod and the silicon. So we've got the Hydra kit here. If you are wanting to install a laminate into a wet area, there's some things that you need to do to prevent water from getting under the floor. And it's quite simple. We have this foam backer rod. Really what this is for is just a cheap filler. We don't want to be filling that entire expansion gap around the perimeter with silicon. Now this is actually specially formulated, and I used to say it was specially formulated back in the day. It is actually specially formulated. It's more elastic, so it allows for the floor to expand and contract more than what a typical silicon will. So make sure that your installers are using this stuff. It's reasonably priced as well. But as I said, we don't want to fill the whole gap with silicon. And so this backer rod, what that does is it fills up most of the gap, as you can see there. And then all we have to do is apply the silicon. Now this one's been opened and gone off, but we would just apply it to the surface all the way along around the entire perimeter. And we're making sure that we've got a thin layer that goes across the whole way over the top of that foam backer rod. And the aim of it is to prevent water from getting underneath the floor. And as long as we can do that, no problems. We can put a quick step laminate in a wet area like a bathroom or a toilet or a laundry. It's not something that we've really typically seen over here in Australia, but it's something that they're doing all the time in New Zealand. And I've seen a house that's got engineered timber flooring going into the bathroom, into the toilet, and it looks amazing. We're so used to tiled floors in those areas, but yeah, I would definitely have it at my place. I know it's a little bit different, but it looks amazing. So why wouldn't you do it? And do it confidently as well. So yeah, doing the treatment around the outside, very easy to do. I will actually also mention that we have a stack of great videos, fantastic resource on YouTube. If you go to Quick Step Flooring YouTube channel, you can look up how to install a laminate or an engineered wood floor, or maintenance or things like that. Go there, check it out. It does have some of the tricks that we have in here, but I guarantee your installers will still really need to come to the academy because they don't touch on a lot of the finer points. But still a fantastic resource to draw from there. So go check it out. Have we got any more questions?
I think we might wrap it up, Nathan.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for spending your day just to hear a little bit about the academy, and I'll hand it over to you, Dave.
Excellent work, Nathan, and good work to our cameraman, Craig Testy in Adelaide.
My arms are killing me.
Good job, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining the call.
No worries. Catch you, guys.
Nice work, Nate.
See ya.